Welcome to the Pandemonium Witches podcast, where the ADHD has just a touch of autism, where the true crime is as scary as the hauntings and unsolved cases. But the hosts never stay on topic for long. I'm Kat.
I'm Rachel.
I'm Em.
And I'm Meg.
Keep your arms, legs, and other extremities in the vehicle at all times, and enjoy the show. I know I could have asked, but
They make it's called, what is it? It's called like the bridal buddy or something like that. You wear it under your dress and it like hooks everything up. You look like a loofah.
Okay. But I mean, I already had my mother going, "Are you sure you don't need to pee during the wedding?" And I love my mother, but there are three things.
Oh, you brought her food.
To a man.
Oh, God.
Why? Every time I want to call.
Present.
There are. You are not a child. Honey, there's children present. Stop. There are babies present.
It's fine. It's fine.
That could have been bad.
That could have been very bad.
She's dying right
She is, because almost walked into the bedroom.
Over there. It's fine.
She thinks of you, Josh, they don't ever want to see.
now. Breathe.
Yes, I'm dying. It's fine. It's fine.
Is that...
You guys get my life insurance. You'll be set for life.
Oh my God, shut up. Shut it.
Go back to cleaning your room. Oh my God. I'm gonna fight your husband.
Get in line.
Alright, who's first? Is it Holly?
Yeah.
Alright.
Of course it's Holly.
She has
Holly.
She has a rage button. We gotta let it fly
I'll hold
every
her
so
vape.
often. I have to tell you, when I went to Virginia, the look on Carl's face when I walked into that bedroom. Did I say it? I posted it on Facebook, but hold
Which, fuck you, by the way.
on. So Emily fainted, guys.
I did not faint.
You
I
fainted.
lost use of my legs.
You collapsed.
I collapsed.
You dropped it like a domino.
I did, but I did not faint.
So I just sent the pictures. This is Carl. Carl has enough attitude to dwindle all of us. So I was like taking a picture of him because he was showing me the etch sketch that he was,
Nothing. Continue.
No, Rachel was saying something, but I can't hear her for some reason.
Oh, not me. Cool. I can take it.
Rachel, you're literally muted.
I was muted. It was not muted, and I said, I want to play in the water.
Oh! Yeah, I forgot to mute myself. No, the kids wanted to go play in the water. And I'm like, what? I'm not going anywhere today.
So if you look at the third photo, we were just discussing a later episode, which is actually coming out on August 9th. Prepare yourselves, prepare your loins for Ed Kemper. That is the mystery. Yeah, I know you hate him, which is why I was like, you don't want to be on this. It's fine, Emily. He is as tall as Nicholas. So if you look at the picture of Nicholas and Little Bean and Big Bean, Nicholas is 6'7". Nicholas is 2 feet taller than me. I know that. Holly is 5'3", 5'4", and I'm shorter than her. So, yeah. He was so surprised. He jumped off the bed, almost hit his head, and then jumped onto me, and he went, "Miss Cat!" I was like, "Hi, buddy, I missed you." And he goes, "I missed you too." Looked at Josh and went like this. Hold on.
Like you took her away from me.
The one eyebrow thing, and he goes, "Who's that?" And I went, "Carl." And Holly goes, "Carl, do you remember Mr. Josh? We were talking about the man who married Aunt Kat." "Yes. That is Mr. Josh. Hello." He was very formal. And Josh just went, "I'm going to chase you around the house." He goes, "You can't catch me." And he goes, "Wanna bet?" Carl's face just lit up and just ran out of the room. And he about ran smack dab into his father. Best feeling ever. Holly was like, "I need 5 normal minutes." And I said, "Go ahead. I got the babies." And I'm playing with Bean and I'm playing with Big Bean. And it was a grand time. But of course, now we're back to our regularly scheduled bullshit.
As much as we can.
Shut up. Don't give me that face. You loved my time.
Yeah. I got to gorge myself on sushi with you. That poor lady. I thought she was going to have a heart attack when she came over, and I was just like, well, Pam!
You did kind of come out of left field with that, though.
I did. I do not regret it, though.
Rachel, why did you send me a floor burning of a Ouija board?
Oh no, Roomba.
No, ma'am.
Just read it. It's funny.
What are you doing? Get off my floor. Just vacuum there.
Told you.
Okay, but now I want to put down a Ouija board and put a Roomba on it and see what happens.
No, why? No. Walking Ouija board here. Why would you do that?
Just to see what happens.
No.
Horrible things.
Horrible things. Horrible things.
Guys are no fun.
So, since I did the last one, are we doing states today?
Yes.
What do we got?
Alaska.
Fuck yeah! Isn't it bigger than Texas?
And California and Montana combined.
Holy fuck!
Didn't Russia just recently try to buy Alaska back from America?
I don't know about buying. I know they threatened to invade it.
They did. And all those TV shows, Ice Road Truckers, is through the Canadian expansion.
Yeah. I freaking love that show. I fall asleep to that show.
I know you do. I used to be in the house with you.
That show, what is it? That show, On Patrol.
Snapped.
And, Stabbed, and, I almost got away with it.
Yeah. Well, Rachel?
I said, and whatever that other one is.
Yeah.
So, we're talking about the upper Pacific Northwest.
Yes. Yes. Sorry. I was trying to figure out why there was, because I pulled it up my notes, because otherwise there's going to be lots of clicking on the computer.
Thank you.
Oh, wait, shit, I forgot this is touchscreen.
Hold on, let's...
Oh, man. Okay. Forgot my computer screen was touchscreen, so I was like, well, shit. You could hear me, doing the down arrow on my notes.
Every time she did the down
Well, at least you know she is prepared.
I do. And let me tell you, I'm very excited that there is no chocolate starfish that is going to grace our screen today. So again,
yes.
Thank you.
I specifically bought a new, so I could do my homework in bed, but it's like what is that called?
The new system?
A bed table thing. I put it in the chat. So it like raises my laptop off the bed like a good foot.
It's like a foot.
Oh, nice.
It's got like the remote on it. Is that a Sanrio mouse?
It is, and it has a cup holder, and it's adjustable.
Shut the front door.
So
Watch. I can.
I
love that.
It was like $20 from Daddy Bezos.
I mean, I can just turn this, but I found out yesterday when we were doing D&D, before I tap the fuck out, you can see when I pee.
I can't.
Well,
I mean, you got to pay extra for that.
That's true.
Oh my god, you're disgusting. I love you.
Anyways, so forgot that
Alaska, right? Alaska.
And so I was going to pull up my notes on my phone and just kind of prop it against my screen so that way I could just scroll it on there. Never mind, I forgot this shit. It's been a while since I've used this laptop.
Look, it's good though. I like she got the mic set up.
Yes.
Ooh, I need to get that.
Yeah.
But I quit my job, so like I gotta save money.
That's valid.
But bro, they didn't deserve you, so.
The Navy's gonna pay me so much more.
They are.
Good.
They are.
So.
And this actually
All
comes
right.
out at the end of the month, so perfect.
Woo! All right, Alaska. It is a non-contiguous state on the northwest extremity of North America.
Ooh.
It is the largest U.S. state by area, comprising more total area than the next three biggest states of Texas, California, and Montana combined. And is the seventh largest subnational division in the world.
Subnational. Underwater? No, that's not underwater.
That's submarine.
Look, okay, coffee? Continue. I'm sorry.
I see what you mean about the clicking.
Well, freaking Google Dictionary failed me on that. I tried to do the whole.
What do you?
Subnational.
What do you? You're trying to look up subnational?
Yeah, just because Kevin's like subnational.
Hey Google. What does subnational mean?
On the website merriam-webster.com, they say existing or occurring below a national level, relating to or being a group or region within a nation. To find out more, look for the link in your Google Home or Google Assistant app.
Isn't she
I'm so
formal?
sorry.
I got loud.
I'm so sorry to all of my the listeners that have a Google. Their Googles are probably just like, "What's good?"
It's not as bad as when I was calling my demon box the actual Alexa name.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Oh my god, when we were talking about what happened yesterday
Yes.
in PA,
Yes.
we had to unplug the Google
because it kept going
we
off.
weren't even saying like anything close to its name, and it kept like responding to us, and we're like, no.
It is time to unplug you now.
It is sentient.
Okay. Anyways, it is the third least populous and most sparsely populated U.S. state, with a population of 736,081 people as of 2020.
That's not terrible.
No. Contains the four largest U.S. states by area, including the state capital of Juneau.
Juneau.
Yes. The state's most populous city is Anchorage, and approximately half of Alaska's residents live within its metropolitan area.
I believe it.
Another little side note, there is a town there called the North Pole. And it is entirely Christmas themed.
No.
Yes.
Okay. Even though I'm
reindeer, whole nine thing.
I am such a spooky bae. Emily knows this. You have not experienced. You experienced last Christmas, but Emily knows I go balls to the wall for fucking Christmas.
Yes.
It is insane.
My house smelled like a Santa fart for a good while after. As soon as Thanksgiving was over,
deck those with boughs of holly.
That's how my
it
mom
was like
is.
as soon as that turkey was in the fridge, she was like, "All right, let's get this freaking tree out." And I'm like,
all the things.
What happened to Black Friday at the very least? You know.
But I mean, like, do you know who's just as bad as me when it comes to Christmas?
Me.
Your husband.
My husband. Hold on. Hey, babe.
Yes, baby.
Do you love Christmas?
That and Halloween.
So we both love those two holidays.
My goal is to one day, when we finally get into a house that can accommodate Chris's wheelchair, is to do what my mom did. And she had like the moving reindeer on the roof, and she had them in the front yard. Like, my mom, before her mom passed away, was very into Christmas. And it wasn't until after my son was born she started getting back into Christmas. And that was a good 20 years.
Yeah,
wow.
she's been getting back into it more recently.
Oh, yeah.
Grand. Put some Windex on it.
Come here, Uncle. Let me clean your glasses with some Windex.
So there's a town called North Pole.
Yes.
North Pole.
It's not too far from one of the Air Force bases in Alaska.
Okay.
So they're the ones that does the Santa tracker.
Yes.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Yeah. All right. So the indigenous people have lived in Alaska for thousands of years. It is widely believed that the region served as the entry point for the initial settlement of North America by the way of the Bering Land Bridge. Russia was the first to actively colonize the area beginning in the 18th century. And promoted and maintained a native Alaskan Creole population. The expense and logistical difficulty of maintaining this distant possession prompted its sale to the U.S. in 1867 for $2.7 million, equivalent to $157 million in 2023.
Talking about colonizers, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So the area went through several administrative changes before finally becoming organized as a territory on May 11th, 1912, and it was admitted as the 49th state on January 3rd, 1959.
Isn't your birthday on the 11th, Emily? The 9th.
May 11th.
May 11th. So her birthday.
Alaska became a territory.
Hey! There you go.
Damn it.
So Alaska has an abundant natural resources, but has one of the smallest state economies of highest per capita incomes, with commercial fishing, the extraction of natural gas and oil, and tourism. Those are their biggest things.
Well, yeah, because I mean they got the Alaska fishing.
Mm-hmm.
And they also
like
got
the blue crabs,
right? And then they also have the Bering Sea.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that over by there? And so they have the crab fishing crab fishing. So
the
it's
crab fishing and the actual fish fishing.
The fish.
Doesn't, correct me if I'm wrong, and you might bring this up, so I might be accidentally skipping it. Doesn't Alaska pay people to live there?
Yes.
In certain areas, yes.
My friend lives there. She was a doctor here in the States. She got moved there because she's an eligible bachelorette, yes. And because she's viable, her uterus was viable. She got genetic testing done, and they were like, "You're a match. You can come up here." And so her and her sister, who's a teacher, moved up there. They gave them jobs, they gave them houses, and they gave them a giant check to move to Alaska to marry one of their men.
Is that like a yearly or a monthly stipend, or is it like a one-time check?
I think it might be a one lump sum.
The first one is a one lump sum, and then they get a monthly check.
Okay.
But it's like a subsidiary.
It's like, hey, this is your food. You know, like here's $150 kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a small check, but to move up there, they pay for your moving expenses, the closing costs on selling your house or moving out of your apartment. They pay for literally everything.
I got a friend that actually lives up there.
Oh,
now
nice.
that I think about it. But they live I think they live in the capital.
Okay. So they live in Juneau?
Yes, Juneau.
I think.
Well, that's the capital.
No, I'm trying to remember because all I know is they own like an RV camp spot or something like that.
Okay.
Interesting.
What's their name?
So I'll send you their TikTok because we're friends through TikTok.
Okay.
Because I was gonna say we can give them a little shout out.
Yeah, here, give me just a second. They actually just started tea too.
Oh, very cool. Well done. Well done. We love that for them.
Yes. Well, while she finds that, So the armed forces bases also contribute heavily to the economy.
Yeah.
More than half of the state is federally owned land containing national forests, national parks, and wildlife refuges.
Is that a good thing?
Refuge?
Refuge?
Refuge.
Yeah.
It is among the most irreligious states, one of the first to legalize recreational marijuana, and is known for its libertarian-leaning political culture, although generally supporting the Republican Party in national elections. The indigenous population of Alaska is proportionally the second highest of any U.S. state at over 15% after only Hawaii.
Really cool.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yes.
So it looks like Emily's friend is named Mix. If you're listening, Mix, welcome to the Possum Party. Congratulations.
No.
No.
So there has been logistic and DNA studies done to provide evidence for the settlement of North America by the way of the land bridge at the Upward Sun River site in the Tanana Valley in Alaska. Obviously, Alaska. Remains of a 6-week-old infant were found. The baby's DNA showed that she belonged to a population that was genetically separate from other native groups present elsewhere in North America at the end of the Pleistocene.
How do you spell it?
Pleistocene.
Hold on. Bear with me. Aha. You ready?
Yes.
Pleistocene.
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 Ben Potter, the University of Alaska Fairbanks archaeologist who unearthed the remains, and named this new group Ancient Baranians.
Okay.
Because they came over the Bering, so.
Right.
Baranians.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So, So the first people from Russia that came over was in 1648, according to a rough hypothesis by some researchers, and founded a settlement. The hypothesis is based on testimony of a Chukchi geographer who had visited Alaska in 1764 to 1765 and had reported on a village on the Kiowarin River populated by bearded men who pray to the icons.
Oh.
Some modern researchers associate this area with the Koyuk River.
Okay.
The first European vessel to reach Alaska is generally held to be the St. Gabriel on August 21st, 1732, during an expedition of a Serbian and a Russian explorer.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. Another European contact with Alaska occurred in 1741. Oh, sorry, lost my spot. When Vitus Bering, who is the Bering Straits named after,
right,
led an expedition for the Russian Navy aboard the St. Peter. After his crew returned to Russia with sea otter pelts, judged to be the finest fur in the world, small associations of fur traders began to sail from the shores of Serbia toward the Aleut Islands.
Okay.
The first permanent European settlement was founded in 1784. Between 1774 and 1800, Spain wanted to get in on it and sent several expeditions to assert its claim over the Pacific Northwest.
Of course it did.
Of course, because they wanted in on it. So they did several settlements and forts, because of course they had to get their foothold in somehow. And then So the Russians never fully colonized Alaska,
Hmm.
but evidence of the Russian settlements and names in churches survive throughout southeast Alaska. William H. Seward, the 24th U.S. Secretary of State, negotiated the Alaska Purchase with the Russians in 1867.
Ooh, okay.
So about now is when Americans start heading that way for them gold in them hills. Them there hills.
Picking some
Starting
gold.
in the starting in the 1890s and stretching in some places to the early 1910s, the gold rushes in Alaska and nearby Yukon Territory brought thousands of miners and settlers to Alaska.
Hmm.
So Alaska's capital wasn't always Juneau. It became Juneau in 1906. Before that, it was Sitka, which is south of Juneau.
Yeah.
So European immigrants from Norway and Sweden also settled in southeast Alaska, where they entered the fishing and logging industries because there's a lot of good trees there.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's Alaska. It's made up of trees.
I will touch on this further on, but World War II, the Aleutian Islands campaign focused on Attu, Agatu, and Kiska, all of which were occupied by the Empire of Japan.
Okay.
Occupation, an American civilian and 2 U.S. Navy personnel were killed at Attu and Kiska, and nearly a total of Aleut civilians and 8 soldiers were interned in Japan.
Oh my God.
About half of the Aleuts died during the period of internment. Unalaska/Dutch Harbor and Adak became significant bases for the U.S. Army Air Forces, which was Air Force before it became Air Force,
Right.
the U.S. Navy.
Oh my
The
God.
Lend-Lease program involved flying American warplanes through Canada to Fairbanks and then to Nome. And then Soviet pilots took possession of these aircrafts, ferrying them to fight the German invasion of the Soviet Union. Right?
That's just, there's a lot to unpack.
Because
there.
it was the easiest way to get the planes to that front was, oh, we'll just do it this way.
Right. Oh, Jesus.
The construction of the military bases contributed to the population growth of some Alaskan cities because when you plant a military base, it's going to grow because you have to have all of the supporting people to go in and support the base.
Right.
So, a little sadness. On March 27th of 1964, there was a massive earthquake that killed 133 people and destroyed several villages and portions of large coastal communities, mainly by the resulting tsunamis and landslides.
Oh my goodness.
So the earthquake did less damage than what came after.
Jesus.
And they named it the Good Friday earthquake because unfortunately it happened on Good Friday.
Yeah.
Right before Easter.
Good golly.
It has been named the 4th most powerful earthquake in recorded history with a magnitude of 9.2, which was more than 1,000 times as powerful as the 1989 San Francisco earthquake. The time of day, which was 5:36 p.m., the time of year, which was spring, and the location of the epicenter were all cited as factors in potentially sparing thousands of lives, particularly in Anchorage. So, like, the death toll could have been so much higher, but because of the time of day, time of year, and the location, it saved so many people.
I can only imagine that.
right? Alaska did suffer a more severe megathrust earthquake on July 11th, 1585, which is estimated at a magnitude 9.25, so just 0.05 stronger.
Uh-huh.
And that remains the most powerful earthquake recorded in North American history and the second most powerful earthquake recorded in world history.
Right.
But because 1585, thankfully, there wasn't a whole, like, the indigenous people did live there, yes. But there weren't modern buildings. So it I don't want to say there was less destruction, but
There was still destruction, but it wasn't as
yes,
catastrophic as, let's say, San Francisco or, South LA, especially
yeah.
especially at that time.
Oh yeah. So the earthquake lasted 4 minutes and 38 seconds.
Oy.
Yeah. 600 miles, which is 970 kilometers, of fault ruptured at once and moved up to 60 feet, 18 meters, releasing 500 years of stress buildup.
Jiminy.
Yeah. Anchorage sustained great destruction to many inadequately earthquake engineered houses, buildings, and infrastructure, which is the paved streets, the sidewalks, the water and sewer mains, electrical systems, and other human-made equipment,
Right.
particularly in the landslide zones along the Nick Arm. 200 miles, which is 320 kilometers southwest, some areas near Klondike were permanently raised by 30 feet, which is 9 meters.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. It's huge. Southeast of Anchorage, areas around the Turnagain Arm near Girdwood and Portage dropped as much as 8 feet, which is 2.4 meters, requiring reconstruction and fill to raise the seaward highway above the new high tide mark.
Right.
In Prince William Sound, Port Valdez suffered a massive underwater landslide, resulting in the deaths of 32 people between the collapse of the city harbor and docks and inside the ship that was docked there at the time. Nearby, a 27-foot, 8.2-meter tsunami destroyed the village of Chiniga, killing 23 of the 68 people who lived there. Survivors outran the wave, climbing to the higher ground.
Mm-hmm.
Post-quake tsunamis severely affected Whittier, Seward, Klondike, and other Alaskan communities, as long as people and property in British Columbia, Washington, Oregon, and California. Tsunamis also caused damage in Hawaii and Japan. Evidence of motion directly related to the earthquake was also reported from Florida and Texas.
Jeez.
Like, almost like completely other side of the world, almost.
Right.
Opposite side of the continent, they were feeling it. Obviously, Alaska had never experienced that major of a disaster in such a high populated area. And so they had very limited resources. And in Anchorage, at the urging of geologist Lydia Selkridge, the city of Anchorage and the Alaska State Housing Authority appointed a team of 40 scientists, including geologists, soil scientists, and engineers, to assess the damage that had been done. The team, called the Engineering and Geological Evaluation Group, was headed by Ruth A. M. Schmidt, who was a geology professor at the University of Alaska Anchorage. So the team of scientists came into conflict with local developers and downtown business owners who wanted to immediately rebuild because they were just looking at profits. They weren't looking at the greater good. So the scientists wanted to identify future dangers to ensure that rebuild infrastructure would be safe. The team produced a report on May 8th of 1964, just a little more than a month after the earthquake, which was still really fast.
Right.
So the military, like I said earlier, huge presence.
Huge presence.
They also stepped in to assist within moments of the earthquake, because of course they did. They had people there.
Right.
The Army rapidly reestablished communications with the lower 48 states, deployed troops to assist the citizens of Anchorage, and dispatched a convoy to Valdez. On the advice of military and civilian leaders, President Lyndon B. Johnson declared all of Alaska a major disaster area the day after the earthquake.
Jeez.
So, like, they got communications, like, back up really fast.
Really fast, yeah.
The Navy and the Coast Guard deployed ships to isolated coastal communities to assist with immediate needs there. Unfortunately, bad weather and poor visibility hampered air rescue and observation efforts the day after the quake. But on Sunday, the 29th, the situation improved, and so rescue helicopters and observation aircraft were able to be deployed. A military airlift immediately began shipping air reliefs to Alaska, eventually delivering 2,570,000 pounds, which is 1,170,000 kilograms of food and other supplies.
Holy crap.
Right. Broadcast journalists assisted in recovery and relief efforts, staying on KENI airwaves over Anchorage for more than 24 continuous hours as the voice of calm from her temporary position within the Anchorage Public Safety Building. She was effectively designated as the public safety officer by the city's police chief because she was on the radio already. People knew her.
Right.
It was helpful. She provided breaking news of the catastrophic events that continued to develop following the earthquake, and she served as the voice of the Public Safety Office, coordinating response efforts, connecting available resources to needs around the community, disseminating shelters and prepared food rations, and passing messages of well-being between loved ones and helping to reunite families.
So it sounds like she pretty much, like, single-handedly got it all.
She held everybody together, basically.
Right. She was the duct tape.
Yes.
Okay.
In longer term, the Army Corps of Engineers led the effort to rebuild the roads, clear debris, and establish new town sites for communities that have been completely destroyed at a cost of $110 million.
That's a lot of fucking money.
Right?
Do you know how many tacos I could buy with that?
So many tacos.
So many
tacos and burritos. All of them.
Like, you know how many, may they rest in peace, crispinadas I could buy with that from Taco Bell?
Oh, crispinadas.
Right.
Why you
they need to bring that back.
Why you gotta hurt my feelings like that, Emily?
Petition for Taco Bell to bring back those crispinadas.
All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Type it down. Type it
right.
Let it be
F in chat.
Let it be known.
Okay, so the West Coast and Alaska Tsunami Warning Center was formed as a direct response to this disaster. Federal disaster relief funds paid for the reconstruction, as well as financially supporting the devastated infrastructure of the government, spending hundreds of millions of dollars that helped keep Alaska financially solvent until the discovery of the massive oil deposits at Prudhoe Bay. At the order of the U.S. Defense Department, the Alaska National Guard founded the Alaska Division of Emergency Services to respond to any future disasters.
FEMA? No.
No.
I thought you were laughing over the fact that its name was Fred Ho.
I mean that.
No, it's Prudhoe, Prudhoe.
Oh, I heard Fred Ho.
No, Prudhoe.
My bad. Okay. Because I dropped my
I didn't
mic.
hear you.
So go back. 1968.
was the discovery of the oil, and in 1977 they completed the Trans-Alaska Pipeline System,
Okay.
and both things combined led to an oil boom. The
Ooh.
royalty revenues from oil have funded large state budgets from 1980 onward. So, because of this, the National Interest Lands Conservation Act, ANILCA, of 1980 added 53.7 million, with an M, acres, which is 217,000 kilometers squared, to the National Wildlife Refuge System. Parts of 25 rivers to the National Wild and Scenic Rivers System, which is 3.3 million acres or 13,000 kilometers squared, to National Forest Lands, and 43.6 million acres, 176,000 kilometers squared, to national park lands. Because of this act, Alaska now contains 2/3 of all American national park lands. Today, more than half of Alaska land is owned by the federal government.
That's pretty fucking sweet, though.
Damn.
Because they wanted to protect, they wanted to protect their land. I wish, it could have happened in the lower 48, but
right,
it is what it is at this point.
Can't really do much about that.
All we can do is try and lessen the damage to the already existing land.
Right.
In 1989, yeah. The Exxon Valdez hit a reef in the Prince William Sound, spilling more than 11 million gallons, 42 megaliters of crude oil over 1,100 miles, which is 1,800 kilometers of coastline.
I beg your finest pardon.
Today, the battle between philosophies of development and conservation is seen in the contentious debate over oil drilling in the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge and the proposed Pebble Mine.
A pebble mine?
That's what they named it.
Okay, I was like...
It's named Pebble Mine.
I was about to say, I have a pebble mine in my backyard.
So, Alaska has 34,000 miles, which is 55,000 kilometers, of tidal shore because of all the islands.
Right.
Among the islands, there are several volcanoes.
I'm sorry. It's got North Pole. It's got these national forests, which we love. It's got ice road truckers. It's got volcanoes. No, ma'am.
Has to have some downfall.
No, ma'am.
Yep. So one island is home to Mount Shishaldin, which is an occasionally smoldering volcano that rises to 10,000 feet, which is 3,000 meters above the North Pacific.
Good, sweet God.
The chain of volcanoes extends to Mount Spur, which is west of Anchorage on the mainland.
I'm good.
I figured you would be. So the Alaska territorial waters brushes territorial waters.
Uh-huh.
So that whole, I could see Russia from my backyard thing. You really could, depending on where you're at in the state.
You're kidding.
No. So there are two islands that are so close that are only 3 miles apart. One belongs to Russia, which is the Big Diomede Island, and then Alaska's Little Diomede Island. And so many people, so the families on there used to, when the water would freeze between the two islands, they would visit families back and forth before hostilities between the two countries got rough.
Oh shit.
Like, they would have families on both sides.
God
And so,
damn.
unfortunately, you kind of can't do that so much now.
Yeah.
Alaska also has a longer coastline than all the other U.S. states combined.
Good night.
So one of the world's largest tides occurs at the Turnagain Arm, which is south of Anchorage, where tidal differences can be more than 35 feet, which is 10.7 meters. Alaska also has more than 3 million, with an M, lakes. Yeah, 3 million lakes. Over 3 million lakes. I was like, holy crap. Glacial ice covers about 28,957 square miles, which is 75,000 kilometers square.
Mm-hmm.
The Bering Glacier is the largest glacier in North America, covering 2,008 square miles, which is 5,200 kilometers alone.
Sweet monkey.
Yeah. It's insane.
That's being generous.
Mm-hmm. So, according to an October 1998 report by the Bureau of Land Management, approximately 65% of Alaska is owned and managed by government as public lands. Of these, the BLM manages 7 million acres, 35 million hectares, or 23.8% of the state.
God.
The Arctic National Wildlife Refuge is managed by the Fish and Wildlife Service, and it is the largest wildlife refuge, comprising of 16 million acres, or 6.5 million hectares.
Mm-hmm.
Goddamn.
Oh. Of the remaining land area, the state owns 101 million acres, 41 million hectares, in its entitlement under the Alaska Statehood Act. Portion of that acreage is occasionally ceded to organized boroughs. So, like, you know how in states they have, counties, they have boroughs.
Okay.
Groundhog?
No, not quite. They just have different divisions. So it's ceded to the organized boroughs under the statutory provisions pertaining to newly formed boroughs. Smaller portions are set aside for rural subdivisions and other homesteading-related opportunities. However, these are not very popular due to often remote and roadless locations.
Oh, gee.
The University of Alaska, as a land-grant university, also owns substantial acreage, which it manages independently. Another 44 million acres, 18 million hectares, are owned by 12 regional and scores of local native corporations under the Native Claims Settlement Act, the ANCSA of 1971.
Mm-hmm.
So what?
It's what it sounds like.
Oh, okay. So basically, they protect the land for the natives.
Mm-hmm.
So individual native allotments are sold on the open market. However, the regional native corporation Limited often promotes itself as the largest private landowner in Alaska in advertisements and other communications. Provisions of the Native Claims Settlement Act allowing the lost my spot. So the provisions of the act allowing the corporation's land holdings be sold on the open market starting in 1991 were repealed before they could take effect.
Mhm.
Effectively, the corporations hold title, including subsurface title in many cases, a privilege denied to individuals, but cannot sell the land. So the various private interests own the remaining land, totaling about 1% of the state. Alaska is, by a very large margin, the state with the smallest percentage of private land ownership when native corporation holdings are excluded. They also have the Alaska Heritage Resource Survey, which is a restricted inventory of all reported historic and prehistoric sites within the state, and it is maintained by the Office of History and Archaeology. As of January 31st, 2012, more than 35,000 sites have been reported. This includes objects, structures, buildings, sites, districts, and travelways with a general provision that they are more than 50 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. So most people, when they think of Alaska, also, they think of the dog sled races. So that is a huge part. They also have world ice art championships and a blueberry festival.
What?
And a hummingbird festival.
Ooh.
A whale festival.
A hummingbird festival and a whale festival?
And I'm still stuck in the blueberries.
A garnet festival. And the Sitkaning River attracts the largest springtime concentration of American bald eagles in the world.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Love that.
So the Native Heritage Center celebrates 11 cultural groups, and their purpose is to encourage cross-cultural exchanges amongst the people and enhance self-esteem among the natives. They have the Native Arts Foundation that promotes and markets art from all regions and cultures across the state using the internet.
Very cool.
Yeah. So influences on music it's huge, including traditional music of the Alaskan natives, as well as folk music brought by later immigrants from Russia and Europe. Prominent musicians from Alaska include Jewel. Yeah. Traditional Aleut flutist Mary Youngblood. Folk singer-songwriter Libby Roderick. Christian music singer-songwriter Lincoln Brewster. Metal post-hardcore band 36 Crazy Fists and the groups Pamuya and Portugal the Man. Yeah, I was like, holy crap, I did not know Jewel was from there.
I mean, I did. Jewel was an Alaska native, but I didn't know Portugal the Man was an Alaska native.
Yeah. They also have a whole bunch of music festivals, including the Fairbanks Symphony Orchestra, the Anchorage Opera, jazz festivals, folk festivals, summer art festival, old time fiddling festival.
Fiddling?
Yes. And then chamber festival. The official state song is Alaska's Flag, which was adopted in 1955, and it celebrates the flag of Alaska.
Okay, but that's cute.
Yeah, I was like, okay, that's adorable.
Oh, you do have a boo-boo on your chin.
Yes, I do. Thank you for noticing.
So,
oh, I was talking to the cat.
I know you were.
But I'm sorry, I can't kiss your boo-boo, but
It's okay. I appreciate it. So the 1983 Disney movie Never Cry Wolf was at least partially shot in Alaska.
Oh, shit.
And the 1991 film White Fang, based on Jack London's 1906 novel and starring Ethan Hawke, was filmed in and around Haines.
Yes.
So it was also filmed in Alaska.
Okay.
Steven Seagal's 1994 On Deadly Ground, starring Michael Caine, was filmed in part at the Worthington Glacier near Valdez. Many.
Balto? Like, wasn't Balto based in Alaska? Or am I going?
Yes. I'm getting there. Quit jumping ahead of me.
You're
Oh, I'm not muted.
no.
I'm sorry. I've been like in and out of muting myself because I'm doing laundry and I'm like musing to myself. I'm sorry.
So there's been many reality TV shows that have been filmed in Alaska as well.
Is Naked and Afraid one of them? Please let Naked and Afraid be one of them.
I didn't get a list of reality TV shows.
Okay, that's fair.
So many of the rural communities are considered dry, having outlawed the importation of alcoholic beverages, and the suicide rates for rural residents are higher than urban. Domestic abuse and other violent crimes are also at high levels in the state, and partly linked to alcohol abuse. It also has the highest rate of sexual assault in the nation, especially in rural areas. The average age of the sexual assaulted victims is 16 years old. In 4 out of 5 cases, the suspects are relatives, friends, or acquaintances. Unfortunately.
I know.
So the interstate highways in Alaska consists of 1,082 miles, which is 1,741 kilometers. A unique feature of the Alaska highway system is the Anton Anderson Memorial Tunnel, which is an active Alaskan railway tunnel recently upgraded to provide a paved roadway link with the isolated community of Whittier on the Prince William Sound
Recently?
to the seaward.
Recently paved?
I believe so. It just said recently upgraded.
Were they just raw dogging it?
I mean, they were converting it from a railroad train tunnel to driving on vehicles.
Oh my god.
So it probably took a little while.
Good lord.
On the Prince William Sound to the Seaward Highway, about 50 miles, 80 kilometers southeast of Anchorage at Portage. At 2.5 miles, 4.0 kilometers, the tunnel was the longest road tunnel in North America until 2007. So yeah, fairly recent, 2007.
Okay.
It is the longest combination road and rail tunnel in North America.
That's a pretty long tunnel then, if it's the longest tunnel.
Yeah. So the western part of Alaska has no road system at all connecting communities.
Like none?
None.
Ugh.
The state capital is not accessible by road, only being accessible via ferry or flight.
Mm-hmm.
And so this has sparked the debate over several decades of moving the capital to a city that's on the road system or building a road connecting it.
That's okay. You're muted, Emily.
When she means soon, then Em forgets.
It's dead. It's so much work moving a capital.
It is.
I mean, yeah, it is.
Where'd that little shit go?
I don't know. Where did the little shit go?
Sekhmet.
You have the fleabies again. That means I get to throw you in a flea bath. You get a flea bath.
Funny separation. We bought those cat bags from TikTok, from Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
Sekhmet, the destroyer, destroyed it in 5 minutes.
Ripped it apart. So first, his brother, may he rest in peace, Puma.
We love Puma.
Fattest fuck you've ever met.
Cutest little thing. The loaf would lay on my neck and just curl up right here and be a little scarf when I was sleeping in bed.
No.
He hated the water. You put him near water, he would actively pee in it. So we originally bought the bag for him.
Mm-hmm.
He destroyed it. So we got a second bag. He was okay until he realized he couldn't walk around. That is when he started and we cut their nails beforehand. He ripped it apart.
He went shing, and guess what?
Yeah.
They grew back.
Yes. So, and yes, we're still talking about the same cat. So, Crush, that's his middle name. His first name is Sekhmet. He only gets called that when he is in trouble.
Yep.
But you get to be out. Oh, he's purring.
Aww. So, tunnels in Alaska.
Yes. So the Alaska Railroad was built around 1915. And in recent years, the ever-improving paved highway system began to eclipse the railroad's importance in Alaska's economy. So it is one of the longest, it's one of the last railroads in North America to use cabooses in regular service and still uses them on some of the gravel trains. Yeah. It continues to offer one of the last flag stop routes in the country, a stretch of about 60 miles, 100 kilometers of track along an area north of Talkeetna remains inaccessible by road, and the railroad provides the only transportation to rural homes and cabins in that area. Until construction of the Parks Highway in the 1970s, the railroad provided the only land access to most of the region along its entire route. Because you either had dog sleds, coming in by ferry, coming in by seaplane,
right,
or train.
I've never, I mean, I've been on a bullet train, but I haven't been on an actual train. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That's my thought. So Alaska's well-developed state-owned ferry system known as the Alaska Marine Highway services the cities of the Southeast, the Gulf Coast, it's called the Gulf Coast, and the Alaska Peninsula. The ferries transport vehicles as well as passengers, and the system also operates a ferry service between islands and Canada through the Inside Passage to Skagway.
Oh.
In recent years, cruise lines have created a summertime tourist market. And so the population of Ketchikan, for example, fluctuates dramatically on many days. Up to 4 large cruise ships can dock there at the same time. Like, that's a large dock.
That's a super large dock.
So the cities that cannot be serviced by road, sea, river can be reached only by air, foot, dog sled, or snow machine, which is accounting for Alaska's extremely well-developed bush air services, which is an Alaska novelty. So air travel is the most efficient form of transportation in and out of the state, obviously. So I'm trying to skip down to the dog sleds because I'm asked about that. But in 2006, Alaska had the highest number of pilots per capita of any U.S. state. There are 8,795 active pilot certificates as of 2020.
How many?
8,795.
Holy Toledo.
Too many.
Well, I mean, like a lot of places, all you can do is fly there. Like, it kind of makes sense.
You can't exactly get there by plane, train, or car, honey.
But you can get there by dog.
To a point.
Right.
So, in modern times, any time after the late 1920s, dog sledding, is more of a sport than a true means of transportation. Various races are held around the state, but the best known is the Iditarod Trail Sled Dog Race, which is a 1,150-mile trail, which is 1,850 kilometers from Anchorage to Nome. Although the distance varies from year to year because they kind of map out
From point A
depending
to point
on
B.
well, and it depends on how things have regrown, melted,
Right.
the environmental things. The official distance is set at 1,049 miles or 1,688 kilometers.
Okay.
The race commemorates the famous 1925 Serum Run to Nome, in which mushers and dogs like Togo, who
Was
did
Balto.
majority of the racing,
Yeah.
and Balto took much needed medicine to the diphtheria-stricken community of Nome when all other means of transportation had failed. So we have the books, the movies, the knowledge. There is statues in honor of the dogs that did the race. Mushers from all over the world come to Anchorage each March to compete for cash, prizes, and prestige. Because if you get like the top 3, bragging rights.
Right.
Because it is rough.
It is a difficult
it is grueling.
thing. Oh, yeah.
The Serum Run is another dog sled race that more accurately follows the route of the famous relay, leaving the community of Nenia, which is southwest of South Banks, to Nome.
Nunya?
Nenaana.
I'm just going to say Nunya.
Yeah. An area is not serviced by Frailer Road. Primary transportation in summer is by all-terrain vehicle, and in winter by snowmobile or snow machine, as it is commonly referred to in Alaska.
Okay.
Yeah, I get exhausted running a 5K. I can't imagine not just the dog, but like the sledders doing that run.
Right.
Can you hear the beeping?
No.
There's a beeping.
Okay, cool. It's notifying me of notifications on the Facebook.
Oh.
And so I can hear it. I was making sure it wasn't coming through.
No, you are good.
I can't figure out how to mute it, so. Oh, wait, I'll do it on my phone. I'll do it that way.
Da, 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 da.
I've almost finished laundry. Your bell is so loud.
I can hear that, though. The bell.
Yes, definitely heard the bell. So in the 2022 special elections to fill Alaska's only U.S. House seat, which was left vacant by the death of Don Young, it was won by Mary Pelota, who was the first Democrat to win the House seat since 1972 and the first Alaskan native to be elected to the U.S. Congress in history.
And, and do you want to hear the best part about that, Emily? Rachel, tell us what else.
I'm gonna let you talk because you're so excited.
She gay.
Yeah.
We fucking love that.
In the water that make the freaking frogs gay.
Not only is she like a woman,
scandalous,
taking over a political seat, she gay.
Hide your ears.
Never. I'm just way too excited. I'm sorry.
That's my toe you're licking.
Ew. Oh, it is. It is.
I think I figured out how to make it the thing. Anyways, you time for those spooky shit.
Yes.
I have to go get my PPD read.
Sorry.
I stay for the history, leave for the spooky.
No.
I'm too much of a coward for los spookitos.
Well, I mean, you are of the way.
Bullshit.
I know it is bullshit.
Excuse me. You made me an honorary Latino.
I Latina. Yes, I did.
Let me know what I miss. If you're still recording, I will pop back in. But I need to get this read so I can leave this job and go work for the Navy again for twice my pay.
Take
This
this
is true.
job and shove it. Okay.
Right.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, so the Alaskan Hotel in Juneau is known for its hauntings, specifically the haunting of room 315.
Oh, just one specific room?
Yeah, just it's more localized and roughly one room.
Oh, it's great. Great.
The current owner, Betty Adams, has owned the hotel for the past 40 years, and she is even scared of the room.
Oh, hell no.
When asked about the room, she said, it's creepy. You know, I've never seen anything, but I feel things. So the room is decorated as the early 20th century. The beds are covered in old floral print sheets, and there's a portrait of two women who appear to have been working girls.
Working girls like schools?
Brothels.
Ooh, my. Okay.
Working girls.
Working girls. Yes.
Not like maids and housekeeping kind of working girls.
I was going to say
that scandalous. The most scandalous working girls.
Okay, scandalous.
Yeah, yes. The room has always been reportedly haunted, but it wasn't until 2007 that the first notably scary incident took place.
Okay.
A Navy ship docked in Juneau, and several Navy soldiers needed a place to stay overnight on short notice because
like liberty, you do, right?
They're getting off the ship for a little while, stretch their legs. The hotel said that they could house them, but one particular soldier had sent an email requesting their haunted room. Because I'm a Navy man, I can handle this haunted room.
Right.
So upon request that they graciously did, they went, okay.
You sure?
He was put in the room for the night. That night, there was a ton of celebration and noise in the downstairs bar. This was the first time in a long time that they had been off the ship.
Right.
Which is understandable.
Right.
Through the commotion, a man in the room below 315, so roughly, I would assume 215.
Okay.
215 or 115, claimed that the guest had jumped since he heard glass shatter and even his own hotel room window shattered. Police officers had to break down the door of 315, and what they saw was blood spattered all over the walls. An odd sight considering that the sailor supposedly jumped.
What?
Yeah. This incident was kept quiet for many years, and miraculously, the sailor survived his injuries.
I'm sorry. Okay.
No one really knows what happened.
No! Ma'am!
Because he probably wasn't talking.
No, obviously not. I don't think anybody would want to have a conversation about that. So, Chadwick, tell me about what happened. Nope.
I ain't saying shit. I tripped and fell through the window.
Yep.
That's it. That's all I'm saying.
That's it.
I was leaning out the window a little too far. That's it.
Chadwick.
So this hotel is the oldest operating hotel in Alaska.
Of course
it opened
is.
on Tuesday, September 16th, 1913.
1913. Okay.
Yes.
That's a bit old.
Yes. It is an excellent architectural example of transitional change between the 19th and 20th century. As a frontier mining camp, Juneau had developed a coterie of miners' boarding and rooming houses, but also had a few hotels.
Oh.
In the year 1912, an interesting triumvirate was formed.
Okay.
Jules B. Caro, a promoter entrepreneur, and the McCloskey brothers, James and John, veteran miners of the Canadian Caribou. The brothers had finally struck a rich pay streak in the $25 million diggings at Atlin, across the mountains northeast of Juneau in British Columbia. Of course, they had to spend their money.
Of course they did.
Why believe it. They got a prime location next door to the declining Central in close proximity to the steamship docks and central to the Bistic district. Prime location.
Prime location, right smack dab in the middle.
Mm-hmm. Not too far from this, not too far from that. Perfect.
Right.
Construction of the building began in April and took 5 months to finish. And I wish building things took 5 months to finish. Hell, it took freaking 4 years for my parents' house to be built. Shit.
Get some Mexicans from Home Depot. As a Mexican, I can confirm.
So the opening night was a gala champagne event with 2 bands and free ferries between Douglas and Juneau.
Okay.
The Dispatch, which was a newspaper at the time, stated that at 6 p.m., the management will formally unlock the doors and the keys will then be attached to a helium balloon, which will then carry them out of sight. From that moment, from the moment the doors swing open, they are never to close, and the hotel will be for the accommodation of guests.
Okay, that's a little weird.
Basically saying that until the keys return, the hotel will never shut its doors.
Right.
Features of the hotel included steam heat and a wireless station of 1.5 kilowatts on the roof.
Okay.
The hotel was called a pocket edition of the best hotels on the Pacific Coast.
Okay.
It was placed on the National Register of Historic Places October 25th, 1978. Present owners Mike and Betty Adams have renovated the hotel back into much of its original Victorian style.
All right.
The current owner's son, Joshua Adams, has written a book about the Alaskan and its history.
Oh no. Oh no.
Yes. It details the life and memory of a hotel built to impress, but destined to pander to Southeast Alaska's lowest tastes. So, working girls, drinking.
Lowest tastes. I don't know about that.
I mean, because it was a mining town, so
I know,
you gotta
but
pay for what you got.
they're not low class though. They're some high class
Oh,
hookers. Let me tell you.
Yeah, but
I know.
in a mining town, you got what you got.
Right. You got what you get.
Yeah. The high fashion and glitz was a paltry concealment for the legal prostitution and sale of illicit substances that went on there throughout its history.
I bet it did. Shit.
The hotel survived the 1918 imposition of bone dry enacted in Alaska 2 years before the Volstead Act of 1920.
So the Prohibition
Act. The original owners, the brothers, the McCloskey brothers, decided to turn the bar into a cafe for sodas during that period because gotta
make money somehow.
Keep, the business going. Like most speakeasies of its time, which means room in the back for the alcohol.
Right.
The hotel was a brothel twice in her history, first legally and second time as a rough and ready Northlander, which was shut down and condemned in 1977 by the Fire Marshal and the Litter Control Board.
Litter Control Board?
Yes. Litter.
What the? Okay. All right.
It was probably just looking trashy, and they're like, we're just going to cut it.
Right. Okay.
End result is the Adams buying and restoring her. So the building was included as a contributing property to Juneau Downtown Historic District in 1994. In 2003, the Food Network show Finds filmed a segment at the establishment. And in September of 2013, the Travel Channel program Hotel Impossible filmed an episode at there.
I remember that episode.
Yeah. All right, you ready for the next one?
Yeah.
We have the Red Onion Saloon.
Red Onion.
Red Onion.
Okay.
Don't ask me about why they named it the Red Onion, but they did.
Okay.
Probably to do something with the girls' stockings.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So in 1898, and today it doubles as a brothel museum.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So if you walk into the building today, you will be transported back in time to 1898, as everything has been restored to as it was all those years ago. The museum's employees even dress up like dress in saloon girls' costumes to add to the eerie ambiance. I've seen videos where they actually will go up to the balconies and flash their stockinged leg and shout down to people walking on the streets, trying to entice them to come in.
Oh my gosh.
As the ambiance. I love the videos on it.
Okay.
So although the saloon/museum is full of laughter, joy, and entertainment today, wasn't always like that. It was a saloon brothel.
Right.
During the height of the gold rush, the saloon formed a dark and oppressive history. The working girls were subjected to sickness, disease, unwanted pregnancies, and potentially death. However, many of them needed that career to live, and the only way out was through marriage. And unfortunately, not a lot of people then wanted to marry a fallen girl.
Right, a working girl.
Or a fallen dove. Like there was a bunch of like different names for them. And so, but then again, if they married minor, it was still just an equally tough life. And you still had to wonder that if you struck it rich, went back home, back east, as they called it, would he take me with him?
Right.
Because sometimes they would just leave them.
And they would say, hey.
You're only good. Because half the time, they had a wife back home, back east.
Right.
And they were only wanting the woman there in the mining camp to keep them warm, keep them fed, keep their clothes cleaned.
Right.
And then they didn't have to pay for somebody to do those things.
That's preposterous.
I know.
Was it sorry.
So 3 entities at the saloon. 2 women and a malevolent male spirit.
Okay.
So they already are Lydia and Diamond Lil.
Lydia and Diamond Lil?
Lil. L-I-L.
Okay.
Yes. However, they've never got an answer about who the male is. He is not a friendly spirit, and he brushes roughly past employees and guests. And he tends to move certain objects that the staff needs to do their jobs. Keys and expensive drinks tend to disappear and then reappear in strange places.
Like you do.
Yeah. So Lydia, she was a brothel worker who is said to still haunt the place. Some say that she's a resentful spirit who was wronged during her time as a working girl. Some say she committed suicide over catching an STD from one of the men she attended. But today it is said she plays tricks on men who go into the saloon while being kind to any woman who enters, often caressing her hair. I'm sorry, you can be kind to me. Don't touch my hair.
I mean,
it's a little too close.
True, but I mean, like when I was, when I had COVID, when I was high with fever, Frank would pet my hair, and it was really like weird, but it was oddly like comforting.
Soothing.
Yeah, but it was like, it was weird because it was like, the static electricity that you feel in your hands and your feet when you lay on them for too long. That's how it felt on my head. So, I mean, it was helping my headache go away and some of the nasal blockages, but aside from that, it was creepy as fuck.
Yeah, I'm just like, even like as a child, I didn't like my mom stroking my head. So I was just like, no, that is a hard no.
Right.
Um, so she's also said to wear heavy perfume that has a floral scent.
Oh,
And
okay.
sometimes patrons can smell her perfume lingering in the air.
Hmm.
She's been seen wearing a long dark dress. Um, some say she's quite hostile to men,
Oh,
which I mean, consider her profession when she was alive. I don't really blame her.
right. The
Um,
trauma.
right? But apparently, there's no evidence that Lydia actually died on the property.
Well, okay, so just because they haunt the property does not mean
Oh
they
yeah,
died on the property.
I know. But some people were saying, "Oh, she died there," and other people were like, "There's no evidence."
Right.
Apparently, the smell of her perfume sometimes lingers in certain cold spots because, of course, it does.
Right.
There was once a great disturbance on the upper floor, and the police were even called to check up on it. When they approached the stairs, they saw a female figure running down the hall in the direction of the room that once belonged to Diamond Lil, which I'll talk about next.
Okay.
Lydia was most likely seeking protection from her madam because that's who Diamond Lil was. She was the madam of the girls.
Okay.
Apparently, she doesn't feel like moving on. She keeps an eye on the saloon and its staff, and she makes herself known to male guests only. They
Oh.
say that they can feel hands on their legs and hear soft whispers in their ears.
I'd much rather get the warm caressing on the back of the neck.
Right?
No.
So, you want to know how the men knew whether or not one of the girls was busy or not?
Oh, God. Okay. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So Minor could go in, get some alcohol or liquid courage, and get a dance
Okay.
with one of the ladies. But when it's time for him to soothe some other urges,
Okay.
he could choose his girl in one of the unique ways. Behind the bar, there's a shelf where 10 dolls are standing
On display.
that represented the 10 girls upstairs.
Okay.
And so each gentleman, I use gentleman very loosely, each man could choose a doll of his choice.
Man.
And then the bartender would then lay the doll on her back, indicating that the girl was busy. And then once the minor came back down the stairs, the doll was then sat back upright. So all the other men in the bar knew that she was once again available.
What?
Yeah.
No.
It was one of the classiest dance halls and saloon.
Classiest.
Right. In the bustling gold-fresh town of Skagway. Captain I know. Captain William Moore, who was the founder of Skagway, personally cut the planks for the brothel. Yeah. The upstairs, the bordello, consisted of 10 cribs or rooms. They were very small rooms.
Yeah.
But they were elaborately decorated. Because they had a bed, a wash basin, maybe a couple of nails for maybe a couple of dresses.
But that was like their room.
It.
That's where they lived too, right?
Yeah. So they all had 2 or 3 doors for escape purposes and temperature control.
Okay.
So that way, if the gentleman is not wanting to leave or not wanting to let you leave and he's blocking one door, you can scooch out another door.
Okay.
No, that was good safety reasons.
Mm-hmm.
So the saloon has served many purposes through the years. Popular dance hall, but has also served as army barracks, a bakery, a laundry shop, a union hall, a gift shop, and even a television station.
Okay.
But today it operates as just a saloon and brothel museum. Rooms upstairs have been converted back to how they would have been. But unfortunately, that means it's full of trigger objects. Like the silver dress that was found under the floorboards.
Under the floorboards?
Yeah, when they were doing some renovations, they had to pull up some of the floorboards because they were coming up and everything. And so what some of the girls would do is they would create a space under one of the floorboards so that way they could put their more or less valuables there
to hide them. Okay.
Yeah, so because it was safe.
Right.
Well, one of the girls decided that they wanted to put this silver dress in there, and then nobody really knows what happened to her after that, but the dress was left.
Okay.
They also found hair combs, hat pins, stockings, just normal stuff, also put into these little crevices.
Okay.
And so that's what a lot of the museum holds. It has glass cases full of stuff that they found under the floorboards.
Okay.
Which is really cool.
Yeah.
And that is places on my bucket list of places to go.
It is not on mine.
I know. I just want to go just because I want to see what they have and look, do the museum portion.
Right. I just don't want to go.
You are walking Ouija board, so that is a no.
that is a big hardcore no.
I will take plenty of pictures for you.
Great. I'm glad.
So next up is the 4th Avenue Theater, which was also known as the Lathrop Building, and it was a movie theater in Anchorage.
Okay.
It was described as Art Deco, streamlined modern, and art modern in style.
Okay.
It was built in the beginning of 1941 and completed in 1947 because, they had to halt because of World War II.
Of course, yeah. Most non-emergent building was,
Right. Well, also because, the people that were working on building it kind of had to go to war, so.
Well, yeah.
And theaters were, extravagant and kind of didn't need it.
Right.
It was a large 960-seat first-run theater until the 1980s. So first run, for those that don't know, is when a movie comes out and it directly hits theaters. Those theaters that run it right after it comes out, those are called first-run theaters. The second-run theaters are more like the discount theaters where the movie's been out for a while, but it hasn't quite yet hit, streaming, DVD, that sort of thing. I was going to say VHS, but
yeah.
I was going to say, not a lot of people know what that is.
VHS hit when I was a young kid.
Right. So those are called second run. And it's just basically second run before it's released for purchase.
Right.
So anyways, designed by B. Marcus Pritica, who is a leading designer of themed cinemas, along with Seattle architect A. Porica for Lathrop, a prominent Alaskan businessman.
I think it's Lathrop.
Lathrop?
Yeah.
Lathrop. My brain's going to probably flip between the two of them. The theater's lobby featured a gold leaf mural of Mount McKinley, but originally omitted a concession stand, a feature that Lathrop felt was inappropriate.
What? Okay.
Yeah. So the main house was decorated with the silver and gold murals by Anthony Heisbergen and Frank Bowman of Los Angeles, and a rendering of the Big Dipper, which is a symbol of Alaska, on the ceiling.
Okay.
The murals were done on canvas with reliefs in Masonic leafed with gold and silver. The building's structure is reinforced concrete with travertine on the exterior street level.
Huh.
As the Lathrop building, the complex included facilities for his radio and TV stations, a restaurant, and a penthouse apartment that was added in 1959 to 1960.
All right.
Fancy.
Fancy. Super fancy.
Through some of the renovation by the city, the theater was used by a catering firm as a banquet facility. The Rasmussen Foundation approved a program for related investment structured as a low-interest loan to the municipality of Anchorage in 2006, so that way the city could purchase, restore, and use the theater for meeting space by the Anchorage Convention Visitors Bureau.
Okay.
When the assembly voted to prohibit the city to act as the loan grantor, the foundation rescinded the award offer.
Ooh.
Due to economic recession in the following years, these plans did not come to fruition. In 2011, the theater's new owner, Peach Investments, presented new restoration plans. In a press conference on May 17th of 2022, Anchorage Mayor Dave Bronson announced his support for a near-complete redevelopment of the entire city block, which included the theater building.
Okay.
The proposal would include demolition of the theater building by owner Peach Holdings LLC, which owns all but one corner parcel on the block between 4th and 5th Avenues and F and G streets. However, the plan for the anticipated $200 million with an M multi-use project includes a partial reconstruction of the theater's facade and signage.
Holy shit!
Yeah. Today, locals claim that the theater is haunted by a spirit of a woman. Her ghostly figure has been seen in reflections of the long mirrors between the women's and the men's washrooms. And in 1964, there was an earthquake in Anchorage that hit where the theater was located. It was in operation at the time and was put on lockdown. 131 people in the area died as the result of the quake, and it's very possible that the ghostly woman is a lost soul from that natural disaster. Unfortunately, the defunct and long-closed theater was unable to be saved after several attempts at renovation over the years. It was finally demolished in 2022.
Oh.
Yeah. So then there's this Snow City Cafe.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cafe. Outwardly looks like a cafe.
Okay.
However, it does have a ghostly guest.
All right.
A woman named Muriel was murdered on September 30th, 1976, outside of her office building, where the cafe now stands in its place.
No.
Yeah.
No.
She was leaving work like any other day, but when she stepped into her car, it exploded.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Exploded. Boom.
No.
Her ex-husband had wired her car with a bomb while she was at work, and the explosion resulted in her untimely death. Oh, no shit.
No shit.
If she managed to survive the explosion, I'm sure he would have killed her some other way.
Good Lord.
So her ghost is said to haunt the cafe in the late evening hours, and she is known by the employees to turn the water faucets on and off in various sinks.
It's Edith.
Let me just turn this on over here, and we're going to turn this one on over here.
It's
but I'll
Edith.
turn this one off.
If you haven't seen it yet already on TikTok, the ghost named Edith.
Love it.
that keeps turning that guy's faucet on.
She just wants you to wash the dishes.
That's it.
How hard is that?
That's it.
So the next one is West High School. Outward appearance appears like any other high school.
Okay.
Has lockers, busy high schoolers, sports fields, etc., etc. However,
No.
while the auditorium is grand and lavish,
No.
it has a ghostly presence.
Okay.
Otherwise, it would not be on my list.
All right.
She is said to be a lady in white who only haunts the auditorium.
Ladies
only the auditorium.
Ladies in white,
no other
guys.
place.
No other place, just the auditorium?
Just the auditorium.
Okay.
No other room in the house. And the
call is coming from inside the house.
She is being seen by students, teachers, and visitors for decades.
Oh.
Decades!
Okay.
Occasionally, she can be seen standing quietly among the dark seats, almost out of eyeshot. Other times, she has been spotted running through the corridors of the auditorium and haunting backstage.
No.
But to this day, nobody knows who she is.
She just hangs out.
Chilling. Yeah.
My God. If anybody lives in Alaska, if you pay me to come out there, I will find out who this bitch is. Pay for my trip.
Like, you would have thought by now that they would have figured out, or at least named her something.
Aside from the lady in white.
Right. And speaking of white,
no.
The next up is the 1902 White House Bed and Breakfast.
White House? Was it owned by colonials? Is it presidential?
Probably not. It was once a hospital.
Oh, great.
A daycare.
There it is.
And a hotel.
Oh, yeah. Triple threat. Triple threat.
All the things.
All the things. Son of a bitch. All right.
In the 1980s, the building was set aflame and sat a while before being restored.
Yep.
So after the fire was extinguished, it just sat abandoned.
There it is.
Restoration, because usually with restorations, it stirs things up. The apparitions began to appear.
How about no?
One well-known ghost, the fact it's a well-known ghost, is of a younger woman. She is friendly and chatty with children, according to recent guests of the bed and breakfast. And this has led some to believe that she was the former owner of the daycare, who has returned to her beloved job after death. I'm sorry. I don't care how much I love my job. I am not going back to that place after I die. Fuck that shit. Mm-mm.
Fuck that shit. No. I quit.
I will go haunt my relatives first.
Oh.
So next up is the Igloo City Hotel.
Igloo?
Igloo.
Okay.
It's been abandoned since 2005. It was once a 4-story hotel with 58 rooms in the shape of a
igloo.
Igloo.
Okay.
Hence its name. The hotel, though, was never truly successful. It had issues with building codes because, I mean, it's hard to keep up with codes when you're shaped like an igloo.
Right. I was going to say, if it's shaped like a dome, like a giant titty light, like it's not going to... Okay.
Not so good.
No.
And there wasn't much capital to pump into it for true success.
Okay.
So now the structure can be found covered in graffiti with broken windows and is often used as a restroom by many who pass through. I know. The smell. I can...
It's New York in the fall.
So the next thing it says is, let's just say it smells worse than New York sidewalks in the summertime.
New York in the fall. Let me tell you, I've been to New York in the summer and the fall. The summer, the heat, it's bad.
Right.
But once it turns to fall and it starts to get to cold, a little colder, you can smell it so much worse.
Mm-hmm.
It's like...
Because heat rises. Because everybody's got the heaters on, and so...
That nasty.
It ferments the smell.
Nasty.
Aside from its depleted appearance, the hotel is also rumored to be haunted by a female ghost. What's up with the females haunting? Like,
I understand, but go to the light, my dude.
right? She is often seen peering out of the cracked windows of the hotel, and some believe she used to be a native of the area.
Immediate, no.
Right.
Mm-mm.
Oh, so you know the guy that the Native Hawaiians killed?
John Smith?
The one captain?
No.
No, the Hawaiians.
Oh, yeah.
Killed for
Uh-huh.
insulting them?
Yeah.
Captain Cook?
Yeah. No.
He made it to Alaska before he died.
No.
He has a hotel named after him there.
God damn it. Poor Alaskans.
Before he hit Alaska. So before he hit Hawaii, he made it up to Alaska first.
Those poor Alaskans. Those poor Alaskan bastards.
Right. So it is a luxury hotel in Anchorage, and the building process ended in 1965 following the tragic earthquake in 1964.
Mm-hmm.
Despite it being relatively new, paranormal activity is still very common. One of the most well-known ghosts is that of a woman dressed in white who is most often seen in the women's restroom in the lobby.
No!
Like, honey, if you're going to haunt somewhere, why the commode?
Right!
You're not moaning Myrtle. Like,
Moaning Myrtle!
quit haunting the toilet. Although this information that was initially hidden from public, it was later discovered that in 1972, a young female in the hotel committed suicide in that very bathroom.
Nope.
Although she isn't an evil spirit, she does play quite a few pranks on the guests because she got to pass the time somehow.
Right.
Such as flickering the lights on and off in a crazy fashion or banging on the stall doors as hard as she can.
Why?
Which, I mean, if I wasn't already sitting on the toilet peeing, I'd probably pee myself.
Right.
Many guests who have witnessed her chaotic behavior have been frightened to the point of notifying management.
I believe it.
Right? All right. I got two more.
Okay.
So we have Begich Towers, Begich.
So Big Bitch Towers, got it.
Begich, yeah.
Big Itch.
Big
Itch.
So it is located in the small town of Whittier, which has a population of 273 people total. I
would not mind moving to a town that was that small.
Of that amount of people, 215 of them live in the towers, which is a 14-story condominium.
What?
215 of them live in the towers.
Okay.
It also houses churches and other public conveniences because all one place.
Why? Well, I mean, I guess it's Alaska. They get, snowed in.
Don't have to worry about traveling through a blizzard or something.
Right.
Oh, right there, same building.
Right. It's all okay. I mean, I could understand that.
So, the most known ghosts are two. One is, well, they're both men. Of course.
Obviously.
One strolls throughout the entire building and whistles. And the other man stomps very loudly so that he can be heard while people are sleeping.
Why?
I don't know. Probably because he's a dick.
Who is that? Oh, it's just Gerald. He's being a dick.
Pretty much. The town itself is practically a ghost town too, littered with abandoned buildings and practically desolate during the winter months.
Well, yeah. I mean, they get blizzards and
There's less than 300 people, so, I mean.
Right.
All right, and last but not least.
What do we got?
We have the Buckner Building, also located in Whittier.
Okay.
once functioned as a bunker to protect troops during World War II.
Pardon? A bunker?
Bunker.
Okay.
Yeah. So it held the title as the largest building in Alaska for many years, as it was 275,000 square feet, which is 25,548 square meters, and was intended to house potentially thousands of soldiers.
Immediate no.
However, in 1966, the military left, which is why the town shrunk.
Right.
Because the base leaves, the town dies.
Right.
So the large structure was left abandoned.
As you do.
Unfortunately, to this day, nobody has done a thing with it.
Of course not.
Although it may be shocking in other states to waste such a space that large, it makes sense with the current population.
Because there is none.
Yeah, basically. No one is allowed to go into the deteriorating building, safety reasons.
Right.
But also probably asbestos and all that shit.
Right.
All the good stuff.
Yummy.
All the good cancer-causing stuff. Yet those who were able to visit the building prior to that rule claim that it is haunted. In 2018, an EVP of a ghost was captured in the building saying something crude.
Crude?
Crude.
Okay.
Probably cussing them out for being in there.
Probably more than likely if that's his spot, you know?
Right. Or the fact, like, he's been in there undisturbed in the peace and quiet for
eons.
Decades.
Right.
Get the fuck out.
It's like, Shrep, get out of my swamp.
Right. So considering, the size of the building, but also because it was native land before that, there was probably, native deaths that happened there.
Oh, yeah, probably.
So, because white men gonna do what white men do and take over land that they don't belong to them.
I mean, that's normal for them.
It's fair. Not fair that they did it, but fair assumption.
The caucasity.
Yes.
Palm-colored people.
Yes. So it's quite understandable that the building is known to be one of the most haunted places in Alaska.
I don't doubt it.
Well, not just that, but like the residual energy of all the military members that worked in the building, worked on the building. Just, it leaves an impression on things.
It leaves lasting memories. Like, what was that show you had me start watching? Dead Boy Detectives.
Yes.
There's a part where it's on loop. There's an actual phenomena that is in the metaphysical community and in the medium community. There are memories that get trapped in places, and they do have sort of like a loop where they live the day over and over again. But it's sometimes it's not always that. It's not always horrific. Sometimes it's just as simple as like washing dishes.
Just a simple day for them.
Right.
Just a simple task they did millions of times.
And it's just reliving that moment over and over and over again. And it's not anything bad. It's just a memory that they, were there and now they're not.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all I got for Alaska.
Alaska, you bastards are a bunch of spooky bitches.
Gorgeous, though, but
never going.
Okay.
Never going. I do have a picture I wanted to put on our Instagram just to kind of keep place of these states that our tribe has gone to. So far we have our little map. We have 6 states, technically 8, because we have Texas and Virginia, and then we have,
we talking about the ones we've talked about or the ones we have traveled to?
Ones that we traveled to. Ones that we've talked about, we've done... I can tell you right now. So this is the last one for the month, which I hope you guys enjoyed this month. I hope it was a reprieve from all of the murder, all of the mayhem.
Yes. And we will continue doing it to sprinkle in between all the murder to give everybody a palate cleanser.
So far we've done Arkansas.
Yes.
Colorado, Oregon, Hawaii, Washington, Georgia, Nevada, Colorado, Alaska, and the last one of the month is Kansas, which is on the 2nd. Yes. Quote unquote last one of the month. It's the last.
I was about to say, I thought we did Virginia. No, we have not done Virginia yet.
We have not. No, I think that is.
I was confusing that with the one of the first episodes that I hopped on with Meg.
Yes, where we were talking about that
one house.
The Glenfiddich house.
Yes.
If you guys want to go ahead and go listen to it, it is on Spotify and Apple, on Apple Podcasters. There we go. That's the name. I'm looking at the episodes. It's one of the first episodes we did. Let me take a look and see which episode number it is. It is Bed, Breakfast, and Booze, the ghostly shenanigans of the Glenfiddich house. It is episode number 5.
Yes.
It is right after. It just reloads the page every single time. It's right after Calling Donner and Diet Love, Party of 49, Your Table is Ready. So it's one of the first few episodes that we did. It was on my list to stay in the Glenfiddich house, but not for the price for that weekend. So I was like, absolutely not.
I do like the prices. Very pricey.
Very pricey. But if there's anybody, any particular state that you guys want us to cover next, now we have comments on our
on our episodes, please.
On our episode, so feel free to drop a comment on this episode if we haven't done your state yet and you want us to do it next. We do pre-record these episodes about a month to a month and a half in advance, but we will let you know and tag it in our Facebook group. If you're not already following that, please do give us a follow. Alaska fucking spooky.
I would say give us a like, give us a follow, but we don't have the likes.
We don't have the likes on here, but if you do want to give us a follow, it's TPW3M Podcast on Instagram and Facebook. And we're working on setting up a Discord community here pretty soon. So please stay tuned. We love you all. Stay spooky. And we'll see you guys next time.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye. Next time on the Pandemonium Witches.
A library. We love a library.
We love
Don't
libraries.
Tell me it's ruined.
This is not an episode of Ghostbusters, but it should be. Do you want to know why?
No!
Yes.
Because the books fly off and read themselves.
The library has been open and operating since 1901 and is apparently haunted by the spirit of a former librarian named Ida Day.
Oh, Nellie.
Hello, Nellie. Visitors have experienced...
Whoa, Nellie.
cold spots, flickering lights, and the unexplained feeling of being watched. Well, here's a fact that you're going to hate me for. This is a home that you can actually stay overnight in.
The you is not the French you, because it's not the we. It ain't me.